Hello.
Hey.
We may look familiar.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We would like to talk to you about the books that we did not like this year. And
yeah.
the special thing about this is, if we weren't liking a book, we didn't read it.
Yep.
It's new for us, a little bit.
Yeah.
This year, we were just like, if I don't like it, I'm not reading it. And so, sorry.
No, it's okay.
There was only like one book that I read that I was just like, that I finished. And there were so many great books that I read, and I gave those my time and attention.
Yeah.
And I did not read the things I didn't like.
I
really like this.
I should have done that a little more, because actually we're going to talk about our least favorite books, along with books we DNF'd. And actually, the books that I picked as my least favorite are ones that I finished. Because all the ones I DNF'd, I didn't like hate them that much, because like I DNF'd them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the ones that I stuck through and regretted, I kind of, you know.
I get it.
Yeah.
The ones that I think I hate the most, I DNF'd because I really was excited about those. Yeah. And I tried really hard to get through them. And then I was just like, oh, this is the time where I put it down. Yeah.
There is one book of my least favorite that I did DNF, but the other two I think I finished and was just disappointed.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Christina.
And you're watching
Game of Tomes. Okay, so one of the books that I was super disappointed about this year that I finished was The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Not Shay Shaw.
Shay Shaw!
Shay Shaw! I thought of that when I was writing it. Previous video joke.
I DNF'd that one also.
I
need to add that one to my DNF list.
And it's like hyped though. Yeah. Well, you know, quite a few people really enjoy this. And it's YA, and it is about this town where every summer solstice, these three sisters who are witches will come out of the ocean and possess bodies of girls to try and kill boys. And it happens every summer with the teenagers. And it's kind of like, haha, we're gonna go run in the ocean. Ooh, they're gonna get me. And they do. So
dumb. It's so stupid.
You kind of follow along your main character, one specific girl who she can see the sisters and when they're in someone's bodies, and so you kind of follow along just her in the summer and trying to, you know, avert disaster and keep them from killing boys. So I gave it 2 stars, I think. But I should have DNF'd it. It could be a 1 star.
It did have some redeeming qualities.
It did.
In that it was a bit atmospheric, I think. And I think they did a good job with that part.
Yes.
That's all.
But there were some... I didn't care for the writing style, and
that's alright.
I struggled with, like, some of the themes being themes that don't like tropes. Like, ooh, this boy at a party was coming on to me and I didn't want him to, and then this guy came over and saved the day. You know, and there was one line at the end is about one of the witches drowning, spoilerish, whatevs. That's also how they return at the end of their summer solstice anyway. So she's drowning, going into the water, she's like, the salt, or she said, the sea tastes like salt and absolution. I can't. So I was really disappointed because I was really looking forward to a witchy kind of thing, and I really enjoyed the parts where it followed the sisters when they were actually alive before they were killed in the past.
I didn't get to that part either.
I enjoyed that.
I did after pretty early.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I would have. I enjoyed that, but, nah.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright. Can I talk about mine now?
Yep.
Blee, blue, blee, blue. A book I did not enjoy, but finished, was, this wasn't book club. Why did I read this? Oh, Read Harder Challenge. It was for the Read Harder Challenge of a book with a cover that you hate, and I hate this cover.
It's a terrible cover.
It's the worst cover.
Yeah.
It's a classic. H.G. Wells. about a man scientist who is invisible and very angry and bitter, and that's the whole book.
I mean, like, it kind of sounds interesting, though.
Right. It's not. I did not like it. I mean, it's a classic. There's lots of people who love it. Right. So, you know, maybe you'll like it.
I don't think I'll read it, but...
Just don't.
Okay.
And I got to the end and I was just like, it was a stupid end. And the whole book, nope. I didn't like it. And that's really all I have to say. I mean, there's not like the writing style was alright. I mean, I like The Time Machine by H.G. Wells.
I haven't read that one either, but I do want to read that one. Anyway.
Okay, that's it. That's that one.
Okay, so another book that I was so disappointed about finishing. Yeah. I should have DNF'd it.
Right.
I read this for Read Harder as well, actually. Oh. And that's Ash by Melinda Lowe.
Oh, yeah.
And it was for something about an author of color. Maybe a romance. I think it was a romance by an author of color. But I would not classify this as a romance, personally. So Ash is about this girl, and it's like a Cinderella retelling. And she's Cinderella. And she actually falls in love with the huntress of the story. And so I was really going into this expecting like a nice cutesy LGBTQ romance, and it's like they had no interaction really through like the first half of the book, and then when they did, it didn't really quite build up the romance for me. It was quite like insta-lovey, and it is definitely YA, but it's just, I was really disappointed. As far as like the Cinderella aspect of it, that definitely comes through, and I did get into that. That's alright. And there's fairies involved, which was cool. I was into that. But I just felt like things were a little rushed and could have been fleshed out more. So I was just a little disappointed. I think I gave it like 2 stars. And I feel like, again, if this could have just been longer, because it's a relatively short book, if it could have been longer and just like developed a little more, I think it could be really good. But I just wasn't there. I didn't buy into it, you know? So, yeah. Disappointed.
Sorry. Let's talk about what we DNF'd then, or do you have another one?
Oh, no, I DNF'd my other least favorite of the...
Okay.
Of the year, just because it was...
Was that Night Film?
No.
Oh.
I was going into this thinking we were gonna love it.
What?
It was awful. Station 11.
Oh, yeah! I did DNF that one, too.
Yeah.
I need to add that. The thing is I didn't record in Goodreads the books I DNF'd because I didn't want to mark them as read.
It's hard to... I haven't figured out a good way to do that either.
Me neither. Like, I made a whole separate...
shelf,
and it still marked it as read, and I didn't like that. But this... 2019, I think I will do that just so I can remember everything I DNF'd. Yeah. And just not rate it and just say I DNF'd it at this point.
That's what I started doing a few months into the year, so that's why I was able to keep up with most of my DNFs.
What was it again?
Station 11.
Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead.
So this is about, if you don't know, because it's very popular, this is about the apocalypse. And there's like a flu or something going around, and it's killing a bunch of people.
Lots of people.
So you follow this troop.
Yeah.
Trope. You follow this troop of people who have banded together and kind of like doing theater to entertain the people.
Which sounded great to me because I love theater.
Right. And I was like,
and I love apocalypse books.
I'm like meh on them, but like I've heard such good things about it. I was really looking forward to this.
Yes.
And then I just didn't care.
And we tried to read this with Andrea from Overstuffed Bookcase.
Yeah.
Who we love very much, and we read The Handmaid's Tale with her.
Yeah, which is great. And we watch the show with her every year.
Yeah, we do.
And we discuss it, which is really fun.
It is really fun, and then we do like a live discussion during the finale.
Yeah.
So we're excited to do that again in April.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
So when we decided to pick up another book, we thought, oh, we might do another dystopian novel.
And we had talked about Station 11 before and how we all wanted to read it.
Yeah.
So we thought, great, we'll do it.
And then we didn't like the writing style. The story wasn't there.
Yeah, I
didn't care about any of the characters.
It kept talking about the people that were already dead.
Yeah.
Well, one person who was already dead, and I just I can get where it was going, but...
And also Andrea totally, like, called how the end of the book was going to be.
Yeah.
And
she was, I mean, like, spot on. While we were all still reading it, she's like, I bet, blah, blah, blah. And then we looked it up after we DNF'd it, and oh, yeah.
That's exactly
she was spot on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I remember saying, like, if that's going to happen, I'm going to be really disappointed, because it's, like, not that...
It's obvious.
Yeah.
So she pointed it out, of course.
Yeah, and I also felt like it wasn't going to be that big of a reveal, you know, and, no.
Bummer.
So, I'm glad I DNF'd that, but I know there's a big fan base for that, so... Yikes. Sorry, guys. We can enjoy different things.
A couple of other books that we read that were really big, and we were so excited to read it.
Ooh. I feel so bad when we say these. I'm like, ooh.
I know, me too. We DNF'd Outlander.
Oh my gosh, Outlander. Like, halfway through, we got so far. We read that with, like, a whole bunch of people, which was really fun.
I want to say, we watched the TV show, and I really enjoyed the TV show.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it.
I didn't either. We finished season 1, which was rough.
It was rough.
Rough.
But also good.
It was really good.
But also really rough.
Really rough. That season finale.
The hardest thing I'd ever seen on television.
Oh, yeah.
That was
my husband's and my reaction when things get, like, really awkward is to, like, just make jokes. So that's, like, it was a terrible thing that was going on, and we were like, you know, it was brutal. We're like,
yes. Yeah. Another one is Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
I didn't DNF it, guys.
She didn't. She stuck it out.
But yeah, I didn't like it.
She DNF'd Golden Sun, which is the second one.
Yeah.
It was actually, and I hate saying this, but it was just, it didn't feel finished. It felt like he was writing it, and then, but like parts were missing, and I think he could have done a better job at it.
I just wasn't entirely interested in
the story. I like the premise.
You know, and it felt really Hunger Games-y to me.
It did. There was a lot of things in that book that I just could point out, like, oh, that's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Hunger Games.
And here's the thing, though. Like, I feel this way about music as well, is that I definitely feel like people are inspired by other people's work.
That's okay.
And that's okay. There's no problem with that. So when we say that, we're not saying that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But
it was just so similar, like a copy.
Yeah, like The Eye of the World we talked about. I love that book, but it is very similar to Lord of the Rings.
So many similarities.
Right.
We could make a whole video out of the similarities.
Right. So, I mean, it's just, for me, it was just that, like, here's the main story, but let's go and do all these other steps. And, like, I get it, and I understand that that is generally how things like this go. Yeah. And I usually don't have a problem with that, but this one I just couldn't. There were elements of it that I really did like. Yes. I think visually it did a good job. Yeah. And also, like, the first chapter was like, oh yes, I'm gonna love this book. I can already tell. I really enjoyed, like, the first third of it. And then after that I was kind of like, oh, well, that's where this is going.
It just went, and then things happened that I didn't care about, and then they just kept the story of the Hunger Games part was like the whole thing, and I didn't care about that part at all.
I didn't either. I wanted to move on and get, like, dive down deep. And then I started the second book, Golden Sun, and it felt very repetitive of the first book. In that aspect of, like, Hunger Games-y, like, this is a challenge, let's go do this first or whatever. And so I was just like, nah. Okay, another book that I didn't read very much of at all for Read Harder was a study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas for a mystery by author of color or LGBTQ. And just couldn't get into it. I don't really want to talk about it. Just meh.
Yeah, let's do that. The ones that we'll just skim over the ones that we DNF'd.
Yeah.
Apart from Outlander and Red Rising, I also DNF'd Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I didn't like it.
I snotted a little bit, sorry. Hence why she DNF'd it.
Pride and Prejudice I gave 5 stars to.
Right.
And so after that, Northanger
after coming off that high.
Yeah, and Northanger was like the very first book she wrote. Yeah. And it was published posthumously, like it was never published in the first place, and
she would have been like, no!
Oh, and then The Wicked Deep in Station 11, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are other ones too that I DNF'd, but like I said, I didn't keep a record of them. But I'm gonna do that 2019.
Yeah, awesome.
So that, even though, like, I just don't want it to, like, drive up my reading count and then I have to go through and then like subtract the ones I didn't finish. You know what I mean?
Oh, see, I just left them all as read and just counted them.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, quite a few. Okay, the rest of these that I DNF'd, it's not because I wasn't enjoying them specifically, except for a couple of them. It's just that I started work and I didn't have time, and once I got to that point where it had been like a month of reading the same book, I was just kind of over it.
Yeah.
I wasn't enjoying it enough to continue. So, those were 1984 by George Orwell, which was one that I was like, not enjoying very much. And I tried to read it with Ashley from Don't Have a Degree in Reading, and I was like, yo, I'm sorry, but like, nope. And she's like, yeah. And another one was Night Film by Marisha Pessel. Yeah. Marisha or Marissa?
I think it's Marisha.
Marisha Pessel. And I got so close to the end, but I was just tired of reading it, and the themes in it, I was over it. Which I still need to Google how that ends. I would be interested in that.
Oh yeah, me too,
so, The Alice Network by Kate Quinn.
I gave that 4.5 stars. I loved it.
I know, and it is really interesting. It's just that on Audible, I was listening to it for like 2 months, and I was like going like weeks without listening to it, and so I just couldn't give it the time and attention it deserved. But I would love to read an ebook or physical copy of it. Mm-hmm. Because, very interesting. So, and the last one was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, because the timing was not right, and didn't like the writing style, and was just like, meh.
Yeah. That book was middle of the road for me, actually, which I was surprised about.
Yeah. So, total I DNF'd was 8.
Cool. So, I did about that.
Yeah. I'm sure I know there's more that you DNF'd as well.
I know,
but I can't think of them either.
No.
Those were our DNFs and our least favorites. Let us know if you've read any of these, and if you agree or disagree, we can have
outraged.
We can have a conversation about it.
When you play the game of Tomes,
you read or you die.
Come be our friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Bye. Thumbnails.
Out there was a bear, a bear, all black and brown and covered in hair. 3 boys are going to a dancing bear. They danced and spun up to the fair. Oh, sweet, she wasn't pure and fair, the maid with honey up in her hair. He smelled her on the summer air, the maid with honey in her hair. From there to here, from here to there, all black and brown and covered in hair. Smell that girl on the